I welcome you to Aldima.
Good evening. You doing all right? My name is Hassan. I want to say thank you for allowing me to be in this place with you celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Can we give a round of applause for him and his life? We thought it would be fitting for what this occasion is for, the song that we've chosen to do. It's a reminder that our lives have meaning when we choose to help others. And it's about living selflessly, being a light in someone else's darkness, and showing kindness in a world that often feels divided. The lyrics that you are about to hear teaches us that even the smallest acts of love can leave a lasting impact. So with that said, here is If I Can Help Somebody. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. You know, if I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world abroad, you know, if I could spread love's message as God has taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Can I say that one more time? Then my living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Thank you.
Beautiful word. Thank you. Amazing.
He knows to sing.
He does.
He came with only with one song.
He's got plenty of songs.
So what he will do after you speaking?
What would you like to do, Hassan? What would you
Come back.
You thought you could get away.
Come. I will do it more easy for. How many songs you know?
Do I know?
Yes.
Pretty much a lot.
And he can go with you? After he's finishing to speak, you're going to sing again, something else. It's how to make a deal.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's how to make a deal.
First, giving honor to God.
All the time.
It is my pleasure to be in this house of worship. And I have to say to the sassy sister cats, thank you for the invitation. Rabbi, it is so wonderful to be here. And to your wonderful cantor, thank you so much for both the rhythm and the song. I come to you this evening to remember, to be reminded, to be uplifted, and to be captured by the legacy of a man who was killed at the age of 39 years. He never got to be 40. And as we look at the things that we celebrate about his life, one of the things that we need to realize that many times when we think about Dr. King, we look at him as an old soul, don't we? Now, I know you didn't claim 40, but Dr. King never had the chance to claim 40. And as I stand here this evening, I stand on the shoulders of men like Dr. King and women who were in the vineyards here in this country, who like themselves saying, "Go down, Moses." Because the history of the Israelites was one that was taken on by the American slaves, so that there would be this sense of freedom that was always hopeful that there might be an opportunity to have something better than the enslavement that captured people that came to these shores as unwilling immigrants. Dr. King knew that. And Dr. King also was a messenger in a lot of ways of making sure that we didn't forget the rich history upon which people in this room and people who are from my ancestry share. that we've known the vicious whip of Pharaoh. We have known the seriousness of what it means to have your very life dictated by someone that cared not for you as person nor believer. The importance of that relationship was one that was reveled in by folks that marched in Selma. It was reveled by those who went down the roads in Montgomery and Mississippi, Alabama, faced the fire hoses, yes? We all, well, not all of us, saw it on television. Yeah, you didn't see that. But the world did see it. And the world was a witness to what was going on in the place that called itself the home of the free, the land of the brave, and gave promises. So Dr. King stands for many of us in this room, both young and old, as a marker to remind us about what we must do with and for each other. And I stand before you not just as a civil rights lawyer, because I happen to be a lay servant in the United Methodist Church. They let me preach once in a while. And I come to you as the husband of a United Methodist pastor who doesn't let me preach at all. But I bring you greetings from the Reverend Adrian Brewington. But I bring you at this time, and I'm not going to keep you long, but I do want to tell you just a little bit about a situation that may very well be helpful in understanding how important it is for us to be willing to help somebody. I was on the road going to Harrisburg. It was jurisdictional conference in the United Methodist Church. That's when we get together, all the northeast portions of the United Methodist churches, and we get together to select our bishops. That's the main task. And as I was going to Harrisburg, it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I had done my usual thing. I'd filled my day up so much that my cup runneth over. You know that. And getting there late on that Friday evening, I traveled down the road. Some of you may know that Interstate 81 goes in to that Harrisburg area. As I went down that road, I had the full view of my windshield in front of me. You know, that panoramic view that goes, and the road is just wide open. And I'm coming up to a toll booth. And at the toll booth, your brother in the back is shaking his head. There's a toll booth that comes in, and I don't remember the yard marker, but I remember as I was coming up, I could see the toll booth in the distance, and there was an 18-wheeler, one of those big ones with the tankers in the back. And as I went down that road, there was this lowrider pickup truck. You know, the ones that come by you and go, bzzz. And as I saw this lowrider pickup truck go by, I saw the 18-wheeler slide slowly to his left. And the little pickup truck, the lowrider, decided he was going to try and test his faith. Not the faith that we talk about. And he tried to slide past the 18-wheeler as the 18-wheeler moved over, and then ended up right under the front wheels, hit the back. I think it's called the guard in the back, and then hit the back right on the front wheels of the cab. And the wheels had then come behind the cab and went in. The 18-wheeler spun and turned and blocked the entire highway. And at that point, I'm watching it like it's on television. I'm seeing it in 100s, like I had just gone from Kansas to Oz. It was colorful, it was real, it was vivid, it was scary. Because as the 18-wheeler slammed on his brakes and that smoke came from the ground, from the rubber that was burning, I saw that the 18-wheeler was bent in that jackknife type thing, and the truck was pinned underneath those wheels. I pulled over to the side and yelled, and I don't remember the yard marker, but I called the 911 and I said there's a bad accident right outside of the toll booth at yard marker, and I don't remember, but I yelled the yard marker number over and over because I learned when I was a CB'er in my college days, we had to read the yard marker so you can figure out where Smokey was. Yeah, I became a lawyer. And I pulled my truck over. My SUV got pulled over to the side, and I got out and looked, and just about that time, a dog jumped out of the lowrider pickup truck and ran into the woods, and I ran over to the pickup truck, and as I was running out of the pickup truck, the cab driver, the driver of the 18-wheeler came down. And I said, "You all right?" He says, "Yeah," but we then looked, and there was a young man, an olive-skinned man. I don't know where he was from. Rabbi, I don't know. But let's just call him Amir for now, okay? And I went to his window, which was down, and he seemed to be unconscious. Blood was running down his face. And then a young white woman came to my side as I was looking in the window. She identified herself as a New York City police officer. And she was with, I assume her husband, but her colleague. And she said these words to me: "There's something dripping from the 18-wheeler. We need to get him out of here now." And I said, "We?" But she stood back, and as I stood and looked at this man, I knew at that point there became to be a drip that was hitting his windshield and going down on the front of his car, and then there was a little puff. A flame took to the liquid. And she said, "We've got to get him out of there." And all I could think about was this man who I did not know, hadn't seen him ever. And I reached in, and he wasn't coming out. And at that point, I saw another poof on the other side of the windshield. And as I grabbed this man and pulled him as hard as I could out of the car, I threw him over my shoulder, and I ran for 60 yards, Bob, like I was still in college running footballs. I put him over my shoulder in that fireman's carry and ran and ran and ran, and finally got a distance away. And just as we laid him down, and I'll just tell you, she was a New York City police officer. She wasn't a lot of help. But I said, let's get his feet up, because the blood was in his head. Let's see what we can do. And I said, put the pressure here. 40 years of coaching football gives you a little something. And just as we did that, the entire truck went up in a big mushroom cloud. The flames went up maybe 50, 60 feet. And we looked at each other and we said these words: "My God." I waited till the emergency people came, and they did come. And I did what I was trained to do, turn it over to them. They took care of this gentleman, let's just call him Amir. And I said hello, goodbye to my police officer friend. talked to the troopers that were on that highway that day, and they took my statement. And then went back to my truck and nervously called people to let them know where I was, because I was now real late. But the story goes, because I then went into the hotel. And as I went into the hotel, I went to check in, and I saw one of my Korean pastor friends, Gunshik Shim. And he says, "Fred, who threw paint on you?" And I said, "Excuse me, Gunshik?" And then I touched my head, and I touched my face, and I touched the entire side of my body. I was covered in this man's blood. From the top of my ear all the way down the side of my body, I was covered in this man's blood. And I could not understand how I could do that and not have realized that I was covered in this man's blood. But the timing of it with regard to being accused of having been covered with paint by Gunshik Shim made me realize that I too was in a little shock. It didn't make a difference who that man was to me. It didn't make a difference, I'm sure, to that woman police officer, because she kept just saying we. We immediately became a community. We immediately became one to do something that needed to be done for Amir. The police came to me the next day and they wanted to know, "Did you smell any alcohol?" And I said, "I didn't smell a thing." But the lesson that we're taught from that story is that sometimes God makes us into tools for a particular purpose. And I wanted Dr. King to be with us this evening, so I brought a bust of him that might just remind us of the message that Dr. King brought to us as a beloved community. His sense of us wanting to be joined in such a way that it didn't make a difference whether or not we worshiped on Friday night, Saturday, or on Sunday, whether or not we came from persons that had language that we didn't understand, or whether or not we understood, that we could be one in a beloved community. The question was, where are you going to be on the spectrum of making it better? Where are you going to bring your tool, Mr. President, to be able to make that change that's going to make a difference for the man and the woman, the child that might very well be having ICE knock at their door tonight? Or the family that's waiting for hostages to be released in the prayers and hopes for months and months that would become a reality. Where are you going to be? What tool are you going to be? And I just wanted to let you know that sometimes the responsibility requires us to be a sledgehammer. Sometimes you gotta bring it. And other times you've got to be a finesse. Yeah, I'm coming to you. You've got to finesse the system, the situation, and circumstances. Other times you've got to have a rubber mallet to make sure you don't make dents along the way. But some other times, you just got to have a craftsman's hammer. This is my favorite tool, by the way. That can just pound nails over and over and over again until the message comes. And the reality of what you have to do, the message you're trying to get through, the resilience and the perseverance that it takes to be able to do that comes through the repetitive actions that come from the constant swinging, the constant speaking, the constant cajoling, the constant interaction with both society and people. The United Methodist Church teaches us to be holy personally and holy socially. And as a person that believes in that, sometimes I can get a little screwed up. Because sometimes you need a flat nose screwdriver, other times you need a Phillips screwdriver. This one. But these are different tools. And each of us come to these with different skills. Sir? Ma'am. The question that I come to you as I get ready to close, Rabbi, is what kind of tool are you going to be to make the change that needs to be made as Dr. King wanted us to be as part of a beloved community? Because there had to be somebody that packed the lunches. There had to be somebody that was willing to say, I'll take on the dogs. There had to be somebody that said, I'll lobby about that issue. There had to be somebody who would say, yeah, I'm going to demonstrate and I will be arrested. Because in order for change to come, there has to be a level of commitment that realizes that it's not just about me. It's not just about today. It's about what's yet to come and making the world a better place than when we came into it. Dr. King's legacy is not just his I have a dream speech. His legacy is the concept that we can join arms one with another. We can hold hands. We can say we shall overcome. And when we do that, all those who are contrary to unity and the beloved community have to bend under the great weight of the multitudes who can be together. Dr. King's message is not complicated, but it can be scary. Because when we don't think about the other, it's so easy not to bring the hammer. So, I just want to thank you this evening for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you. But I want you to realize that as we are here together in this place, there is also a lesson for us looking to your left and to your right, the brothers and sisters to your front and to your back, that there is a beloved community that this congregation is a part of. And it reaches to the community that I live in, where my office is in Hempstead. It reaches to Great Neck. It reaches to the South Shore and the North Shore. It reaches across the country, because if it has to start, let it begin with you. God bless you and thank you.
Where are you going? And God will be with you all the time. And promise one thing, don't be afraid never. If somebody wants to deal, don't start with him or with her. Then it's not in our hand. God will bless you. Mister, I'm not suffering from dementia. Come. We are ready? Stand near him. Hallelujah, let's do it. Let's hear your voice.
I'm going to sit with the camera.
It's my pleasure.
I'll be his choir.
No problem, my pleasure.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, and let me stand. I am tired. I am weak. I am worn through the storm, through the night. Lead me on to that great light. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. You know when my way grows drear. Oh, precious Lord, linger near when my life is almost gone. Hear my cry, hear my call. Hold my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home, home.
Thank you so much.